know. So assuming this is a continuation of Marami Rutenberg and other takkonos. Tzatzamateh. The rod has grown. Uparach and blossomed, but not in a good way. Parach has zodon. The crime has blossomed. Chamas kam lamata resha, and uh, dishonesty has arisen to be a staff of the wicked. Ve'ein no shah, and nobody can be saved. Kvar ein hosha, there is no eye paying attention. Because shavas umlalim bas amenu, and the sound of the anguish of or the cries of anguish of the impoverished of our nation, also baznenu, came up in our ears. V'negadnu, and therefore we have come together. V'niksharnu, and we have made a bond. V'gazarnu b'nidui, and we made a decree with the penalty of nidui, of cherem, uvala, and a curse, umekifas chayfetz, holding on to an object, which makes a particularly strong curse. Nachnu hachasumim, those of us who are signed below. Shelo yovel adam kesef lo mos l'chaber, a person should not loan money, silver or I guess coins, to his friend. Ki lemachsis char umachsis hefseid, except for half the half in the proceeds and half in the loss, which is a very strange thing because that means you have to use the heteriska. In other words, basically saying no free loans. I don't know how we came to such a situation, Clay, so there are no free loans. But they have to machzis char machzis hefseid. Maybe there was so much abuse of loans that they decided everybody has to loan money with interest from now on. Okay.
Okay.
Me. Now, because according to it's not even according to Gemara, you can never loan the machzis char machzis hefseid. You have to take more of the chance of a loss upon yourself, the lender, than a chance of gain in a regular investment. So this has to be done completely in the form of investment, not in the form of a loan at all. It doesn't fit very well with the Gemara and Ezu Neshech. I don't know what's going on. Something weird was happening in Klal Yisrael. Okay, I don't know. I'm sure somebody analyzed it. I don't know who. I don't know who. I have a book here, which I have never actually looked at, somewhere on my shelf. By Rabbi Chaim Soloveitchik, Rabbi Dr. Chaim Soloveitchik, in which he analyzes the Gezeros and Takkonos from the time of Tosfos. I think mostly it's the stuff which is in the Masechet Avodah Zarah in the Tosfos, not the stuff which is in Rami Wittenberg. Perhaps some point I'll be able to take a look there. I don't see it right now where it is on the shelf. This seems again to be more halachic issue, not to put your wine in a jug of a goy, unless you do irui, which is you put it in there 3 days, 24 hours, then remove it, 24 hours, remove it, 24 hours, remove it, or agola, or you kasher it. This jug. Now this jug, I'm not sure what it's made out of. It doesn't say. It's pottery. I'm not sure how that works. There's no agola by a chavis. It's true. It's only used for cold, so maybe that's why it's different.
If it's metal, well, metal you gotta what? You gotta heat.
Yeah, metal. You have
Or,
to heat it. Yeah, if it's
but if metal only held cold,
then you don't have to heat it, right? But
yeah.
sounds like we're talking about even pottery here, and it seems like they relied on this for pottery. I don't know. You should not allow a goy to press the wine. And not to eat bishalakum. All these things seem to be things which are dina the Gemara. Says shakonus. You should not never lie. Kiluach maos, and not shave off money. I think it means that you shave off, the metal and to use the metal in some other form, like shave off pieces from the silver coins. All these seems like outright prohibitions in the Torah, so of theft. Evidently things are so bad that people were somehow more afraid of the nidui than were afraid of the isurim in the Torah. Anybody who subpoenas his friend to judgment, cannot refuse to go for more than 3 days. Mono, I guess should be. If a person exaggerates to his friend, if our witnesses to cause him a loss, if the Jew does get a loss, based in Hamagazim, then the basin should require the person who exaggerated. Evidently, this is not a direct a loss. It was a direct loss. It would also be a form of theft. It seems that he caused him a loss because he gave him bad advice or exaggerated him some other terms of a deal, somehow swindled him in some other way. They require froa based on how much the person who has lost swears he lost. If the witnesses they lost, so then the person who was most sad, which sounds like he went to the government and mastered on him, but that doesn't sound like that's the idea of it. It grabs a different
Right.
so I don't know the sounds like we switched issues. This was my microphone. Hold on a second. Okay. So the they skim immediately. V'yesh edim shehilshen es chavero. This certainly is talking about where you snitched. The apostle edus shvua. Then that person who snitched is unfit for testimony and for shvua. Achil chavero masha yifsid, until he pays back whatever loss he caused. V'kabel din. And he receives the judgment shalosh kilos from the 3 communities, Magensa, Vermeiza, Shapir, which are the famous kilos Shum in Germany, which are the main kilos in the Middle Ages. Evidently, even after this is after the Crusades, and these kilos suffered decimation in the Crusades, but evidently this is afterwards because Maran Rodenberg was afterwards, and still, although maybe this recording was historical before the Crusades, I don't know. But these 3 kilos have to judge this person. If you have needed kola kilos, and he is in need in all the communities. Till he fixes that which he ruined, kasher rule to their ear, as he is ruled by as the government of the sea rules for him. The menuda l'iro. Somebody is menuda for his own city, menuda l'chol mekomis. He's menuda to all places. Mishesus farm of kodim etzlo. Somebody has farm which are by him for safekeeping. Loya kakal rashai l'mashkano. The kehila cannot put a lien against him. Avur shum mas mashachai balas for him for any tax owed by the owner of the books. So I don't know what was going on here, but somehow. For some reason, I guess the person who has the books for safekeeping, is making money off this. I guess it's a shomer socher, and if we remove the sfarim from him, he's going to lose his livelihood. So therefore, we can't remove the sfarim from the person by whom they are now for safekeeping, even though the person who owns the books owes taxes to the community. If a person takes an oath to his kilo, he can only pay. It only has so much money to pay the tax. If the kilo knows he has actually more, he relies on sheker. Also, ish pasal shua, that person is no longer believed to make a shua. And if somebody else demands money for him, and this person is not credible to take a shvua, the person who's demanding the money takes the shvua, and he takes the money. Even though normally a person who is the being laid a claim against takes the shvua, but since this person is suspect on shvua, the other person who's laying the claim makes the shvua. Lo yitor adam es asuming a mas, v'yishur ochei b'chatzar hamelech. Not exempt from himself from taxes just because he rides in the courtyard of the king, which I guess means that he has. He says, "Listen, the king would never tax me. I'm his buddy." So we say to him, "Too bad, no favorites here. You got to pay taxes same like any other Jew." Bachurim be'achasan min achasan kimvav shitim. So I guess that they used to take money for simchas chasan mekala, the misameach. So and I guess it became exorbitant. So they made a takona. They can only take 6 pshitim. So I guess it means the lowest denominator of the coin of that region. Bachrim shima chasan. These Bachrim with the Chasan, lo yignavu shum davar mishum adam. Okay, it's a little signal in the Torah, but evidently, I guess because of Simchas Chas Mekala, they used to steal other stuff. So they need to make a special takona that Simchas Chas Mekala is not an exemption to steal anything. Lo tani goyles, not a chicken below davar acher. Okay, v'ima kol shali mas min hayochid. If the community is asking taxes from an individual, it should be, I think, us. Us kol mashiyela yochid ala kol. The
Everybody owes the congregation.
what?
So whatever the one guy owes the congregation.
I guess yitenos yochid lakol. Asher shalu. Anything which I guess he has. I guess he claims they owe him money. And he said that, and he's fine. They say, fine, everything which you think we owe you, we're going to take for for the taxes. In other words, we don't, even though we owe you money, we can take that money and use it for the taxes you owe us. But nevertheless, they should go to court with him in their place. I'm not being claiming is a kiddush because obviously in that place most people are going to be nogea because they all have to pay the taxes. So maybe it means means an appropriate place, not that place where there's not going to be a negia. Name Misha and Nogim Beidus. V'yochid kilu tofes es shalo v'ein kamotzi mechavero. And the individual is as if he's seizing his own. And he's not considered to be taking from somebody else. So I guess it means that if the kilo owes them money, even though they can use it for the taxes, they're not considered to be muchzak in the money. They're not considered to be their money, and they're not considered to be motzi mechavero. The kilo has to prove that this money is theirs. Okay, they can't say, well, we're holding on to the money because it's money which is owed to that individual. Anybody who violates his takkonos, call kilos, is in need for all the kilos. If he remains in his rebellion for a month, we can take away all his money and give it to the king or to the government. Somebody who violates takkonos, we have the capacity to find the fidatenu. And every Shabbos we can issue a public curse for all the people who snitch to the government. This is obviously a big deal that people want to be chazan or do glila or any other tzachar, and they got the goyim involved to make sure that they got this kibbutz and shul. Okay, glila was a big thing. Which is what we say in Kol Nidre, Lo Nidre, Lo Shem, Lo Chayron, it's something like that. So, V'chein Kol Mispalel, anybody who davens, Umi She Osek, I guess. Pia Goyim, I'm not sure it is, I'm not sure what the typo is here. Pia Goyim Shudini Israel, was something where he's involved with with something which is between Jews, him and somebody, I guess another Jew, Kesh Lasos Pi Dayana Yisrael. He has to do something based on Diana of Am Yisrael. There's something, some typo there which I don't understand. Va'paranas ein lasos b'chashai, and the president of the congregation cannot do things in secret. Or dismiss a chem below das kol kahol, without the opinion of the entire congregation, without the um, um, vote, I guess, the entire congregation. The law rabbi so, and a rabbi in his rabbanus, even though he's a rabbi, he can't put a cherem in any individual. Not permit the cherem, the call kima mamakula. So it's a democratic process. Any individual, president, rabbi, he can't do it on himself. A person should not remove any burden from himself based on goyim. Okay. A person should not reveal any secrets. Person should not daven Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur below das kaholo without the consent of his congregation. I don't know what the difference is. Chaz can daven the first day Rosh Hashanah and the night of Yom Kippur and Shachris up to Musaf below das kaholo without the kila. I guess fewer people came to shul on the first day of Rosh Hashanah. I don't know why. It's the opposite. It should be the opposite. Yom Kippur and in Shachris. But I guess these were not the main attractions. But Yom HaSheni Rosh Hashanah, the second day Rosh Hashanah, of Yom Kippurim Mishal Musaf Yom Kippur on from Musaf on who b'rshus hakol. It's got to be done with the Kila's permission. Okay, so the chazan for the first day Rosh Hashanah is not as stringent as the chazan for the second day Rosh Hashanah. Okay. Why this should be? Again, I have no clue. Ima chazan chalosh, the chazan week she'eno yochel yispalel, he can't daven properly. As a call yinich lispalel v'yidaitim, so the call should let somebody else daven based on their consent. How much longer this paragraph? A person should not command the Dayan of Am Yisrael not to sit. Sha'if Din and not start a judgment. That's, in other words, the Dayanim should be independent and not contingent on anybody else. All these things we decree based on Cherem. Also, we also decreed in marriage, Sheinu Shomer Yehudi, that they should have a Jewish watchman. Sheinichu lashlich mayim. They shouldn't allow them to throw water. Biyoresh sheyesh lem lechol b'Shabbos. Yoresh obviously is a typo. Biyura it should be in a pot. Sheyesh lem lechol b'Shabbos. I'm assuming the chassid took place on a Friday, and they, I guess they need a watchman, a mashgiach, to make sure that nobody added food to whatever's being eaten on Shabbos. Okay, because evidently there was a yetzer hara to add food to the pot, so you needed a mashgiach to make sure that nobody adds food to the pot. Person not allowed to toss a get to his wife. This is I think this is part of Chen Rabbeinu Gershom. This last one is going to say, actually, it's going to say that at the very end of the paragraph. Person not allowed to throw a get to his wife against her will. Okay, because the right, so you can divorce a woman against her will. Right. So you're not allowed to do it in lo b'shus shalosh kilos unless you get permission from 3 community, from presumably the kilos of shpir of Ramaizim against the kilo shum. It's interesting. He doesn't say you need 100 rabbis. You just need to have 3 kilos. If a person does this, Baal should be Sofer Va'edim, the husband and the sofer and the witnesses, Benidui. They should be in Cherem. Kasher Tikim or Hagola, as Rabbeinu Gershom made a takona. Okay. You want to stop here? I want to go a little bit further.
What's the difference between Cherem, Shamta, and Nidui?
There really isn't. No, for practical purposes, there's none. Right? But in theory, Cherem is most severe, then Shamta is less severe, then Nidui is least severe. But I think it's kind of like the word censure in English, and there's no real difference in the quality of the censure. Once you censure somebody, it's just a semantics. I don't know if there's actual difference. Maybe it'll come up. Maybe, but as far as I know, even there we use them synonymously, even though theoretically they're different levels.
Okay. Um,
Okay. Um,
okay.
let's see how many paragraphs.
These were all, this is again, Rabbit.
Some of them are Beta Gershom, some of them are generic. You're going to see, they go back and forth between, and the next paragraph, you see there are going to be various names mentioned here. Yaakov, that's Rabbeinu Tam, and there's Rabbeinu Gershom mentioned, and Yosef, Princess Neo, David Mitzvah, a whole bunch of people signed over here at the bottom. So we're all these, I guess, are one long, I think all of this is part and parcel of this list of takkonos which are signed by these people here. And then we're going to have new takkonos after that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Want to go a bit further? You want us to stop here for today?
We can go a little bit further.
Mamzer. Person cannot say to his friend that he is a mamzer or psul mishpacha. Over mokum she'ema speaking of mashnosin lemlamdim shel tinokos, a place there's not enough money to pay the teachers. She'ema speak a hekdesh, because there's not enough money which from what the community has gathered. She'ain sham kol kach. Yichu mishar hekdeshos. They can take from other funds. Shenichu noche nefesh avunish mason, which people who died left as endowments for their souls, even if for other purposes. The yidnu lamlamdim, they should give it to them lamdim. Lo pir shashchimer al tzorach ma, as long as the person who died did not specify a specific purpose. Most yidnu b'makom sherotzi makom, and the rest, if there's left over, they can give to whatever they want.
So one thing I'm noticing here is that there's like no seder, no organization to all these gazeros.
No,
It's like all over the map.
right.
This, bing, 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 bing.
It's like they had an emergency session. They said, okay, everybody who has an issue, bring it here, and we'll write it down, and then we'll make a whole signature ceremony at the end.
Okay. It's just like,
It must have been a massive synod. A lot of people came from all these kilos. They got together, and everybody said, okay, let's go. Bring it on. You're right, because otherwise it's very poorly edited. I agree with you.
right. I mean, you could at least put different kinds of things, related things together. And
Yeah.
all right.
The loyishav loyidok shum adam, a person should not shecht or check for trefus. Any person loyinasu a rav, unless the rabbi tests him with ne'akfarim, yelchu lachzor livnei abaki. And the people who are come from villages in the hinterlands should go to review the halachos in front of an expert. You're right. Everything is totally out of distorted, out of random. Everybody should set a time to learn. If you can't learn Gemara, you ask a Mikro Parsha, Tanakh, or Medrash, Echad Marba v'Echad Mamid. Whether it's little or a lot, Rakshloya Anus shouldn't be compelled to do it. He should do it on his own volition. Never send meat to a house, only through a Jew. That we actually don't keep that. But we send meat as long as there's two seals, as long as it's sealed, I should say, even by a non-Jew. I guess back then the seals were not so secure. I don't know. Is remove the strings of fat. This is the fat, when they devein the meat, they also do the nikor. This is specific some strings of fat, which could be that alpi din, they're not strictly chela, but nevertheless remove them. Kasher dibur rabbeinu. V'lo yidabru beis haknesses. Don't sit to speak in shul. Yeshu be'em of ear, sit in fear and awe. If you have to do a
that one's been out the window for
yeah.
for centuries.
The Adus Yishmaim, everybody should serve God. A Koga Zarnu, the Cherem Gamur. The Gam Gazarnu also made the decree Yovam Eino Yochol Lagen Yavama. Yovam cannot leave Yavama without Chalitza. Livchos La Minichse Milog Shala. I guess he blackmails her to that she should give up from the property she brought into marriage. And the property that she has on account of her husband. I guess her husband gave her this property. Karkos, lands, Sforim, and books. Nachlas Avoisa from the inheritance of his forefathers. No, no, it's a period. Sorry, there's a no. It's a no, no. Period over here. About a chosim shachs machlas bala. Things she got for her husband. Karkos is for Nachlas Avoisa. Yisaj b'neim. They should make an arrangement between them. In other words, technically speaking, she shouldn't get any of that, right? Because it all belongs to her husband, and this is her husband's brother, right?
Mhm.
So they should make an arrangement. Below yourself, nachla base avacher. The anything which she got as inheritance, they should make some arrangement that he gets. I guess he pays her something and he takes it. So it shouldn't go to a different household when she marries out of the clan. If he made mikna so, if the husband only bought them, beloach so, not something which he got as an inheritance from his forefathers, yichalku beineim, they should divide them between the two of them. Hayosher be'enei borim, in the proper way before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Miram metalchim, and from movable objects, like kakos also, Sfarim sound like also movable objects. Maybe Sfarim are a special category, because here it says metalchim are different. Yetzisada toveir, the people, the government state should arrange between the Yavam and Yavama, feet daitom.
God Chachamim.
That's Chachamim, right? Vadai ain't l'chasi Yavama, and you should not certainly not give less to Yavama in a chasi shevia low than she brought into marriage. Before Sivinto, you should let her release the Yavama below Yichur. The chimutzitza not to tarry with the mitzvah. Viva Yavama Rusa. If the Yavam was the Rusa, in those days, evidently they still had a time between Erusin and Nesuin. Because the Yavam
Okay.
here was only Arusa, not in Nesua. Yesh lo Yavam lachlas achar shlosha chadashim. You should do chalitza after 3 months. I guess it's always 3 months because after if she's pregnant or not. Chiddush is that even though she's an Arusa, they still wait 3 months. Chutz yom shemeis ba'al, besides their husband died. V'yachletz lo bloicha, and should do chalitza without any delay. V'yena Yavam rashai lish'ol shun davar v'yamama. He's not allowed to ask any compensation from the Yamama. It should be, I think, Bama should be there. But what's enhanced mean a chasim from the property. V'yivatzu chachamim. And chachamim should make some sort of agreement in dividing up the stuff. He shouldn't be blackmailing. Imay saw in the suah, if there she was no, v'yivatzu chachamim saw in the suah. That's what it means. No, in other words, if she was just an arusa, she doesn't get anything, right? He can ask her anything, but she doesn't get anything either. If they're married, so then they have to come to some sort of agreement based on what we said before. The Yavam has to go to the Yavam's town. It'll be Acheres. V'yidra so chalitza should extend the chalitza b'li equal kashrei batz b'neim as they agree between the two of them. V'imrodi Yavam refused to release her. Yinadu put in cherem machom rosani. Welcome until he says it's agreeable. Welcome sheisham cherem shel based in. I think it's a new topic already.
All right. So question. This is Maram. So when did he live? When was he
I believe he died in the late 1300s. Let's look it up here. Take a second. I mean, I have to look it up. It's right here. Born 1215, died 1293, earlier than I thought.
okay. So here already they were only doing chalitza.
Oh, yeah. It seems that way, yeah.
So at what point did that kick in where we stopped doing yibum?
It's already a time of Chazal. They very down on Yibum. They almost never did it, except when there was a rare exception. Yeah. No, this is a very time of Gemara.
Okay.
Yeah. Only like when there was no choice, like they couldn't do for chalitza for some reason.
How could you have a situation where you can only do yibum but not chalitza?
If he was like a deaf mute or something like that, there's you can't do chalitza.
It was the husband was a pikeach and the brother was a deaf mute.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Yes, they're rare. It's a rare situation, but there are such situations. Okay, but I think among the Spartan they did already. They didn't do it later. It's a good question. I think Spartan, even despite the despite the band. But I have to look it up. I should look it up and let you know. I don't know offhand.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not sure if I can make a bookmark here. Let's see if I can make a bookmark. Welcome, Shesham.
We're at
Uh, no, that facility doesn't do anything. Okay. Anyway, so we're in the middle of paragraph 6 here.
okay.
Okay, we finished. Let's remember, we finished the part about chalitza. And we're up to the next part, which is starts Welcome, Shesham Chaim Shel Beis Din. Okay, very good. So I have a
Okay.
ksiva chasima
Good.
toiva.
Simata, Kivat Kimatova, and so next week, Mitzvah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Take care.